Joy, and this is my first time in Vancouver, but if you're from here, join the Black Band Club.
What's up, Black Fan Club? It's your boy Ryan Davis, and I'm in your city. It's all come together. It can be a family reunion.
Yo, what's up, Black Fan? What's up, everybody? Yo, all my people, all my Caribbean brothers, my Haitian brothers, my Zimbabwe, Nigeria, everybody. Black Fan, come see your man. Oh, boom, 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 boom.
Matin, midi, soir, je suis là, appelle-moi bébé. Matin, midi, soir, je suis là, appelle-moi bébé. Matin, midi, soir, je suis là, appelle-moi bébé. Matin, midi, soir, je suis là, appelle-moi. Dans tous les cas, prends ma main, on se réchauffera. Je suis là pour chaque moment aussi sublime que son. Dans tous les cas, prends ma main, on se réchauffera. Je suis là pour chaque moment aussi sublime que son. C'est la case de départ, reprends et démarre. Mets t'es dans un état, dis-moi si t'as besoin d'aide. Un petit fais pas la tête. Bombe le torse, mets-toi à l'aise. Y a-t-il un remède? Précis pas son glosson façon. Passe un appel à la maison.
Welcome to Black Van Club on the mic, a digital platform where we spotlight Black events and creatives shaping culture in Vancouver and beyond. I'm your host, Ruby, and today's guest is an incredible lyrical force whose music moves across languages, borders, and generations. She's a bilingual MC, rapper, and soul artist who blends French and English into a sound she calls rap soul. Born in Rwanda and raised across Zimbabwe, Côte d'Ivoire, and Canada, she's influenced by icons like Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott, MC Solar, and more. You may have seen her lighting up the stage at Juno Fest this year in Vancouver, or across stages at South by Southwest, North by Northeast, and the Vancouver Jazz Festival, and more. She's also the 2024 Francophone Artist of the Year, awarded by the Western Canadian Music Awards. Her latest project, Lapu Lapu, which translates to The Pursuit, is a powerful reflection on purpose, movement, and healing. I'm so happy to have you on our platform. Welcome to the show, Missy D.
Hey, wow. Thank you for that introduction. I'm going to need to copy that and use it all the time.
I can send it to you. I can send it to you after. Feel free. No, but this is a reflection of you and your work. I mean, this is just a summary. So
I appreciate you, Ruby.
A lot. And you are an amazing, amazing rapper. I can say firsthand for anyone listening, I have seen Missy D perform multiple times, from big stages to small events, and she always brings it every single time. So I'm so happy. I've been waiting to have this conversation with you for a while. So how have you been? Tell me. I know you've been coming off a lot of amazing things. Just, maybe introduce yourself to the Black Van Club audience and, just get into it.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I want to also give you your flowers at Black Van Club, for shining a light not only on like Black events, but just, I think, lightening the entertainment, music, creative industry of Vancouver in so many ways. I look forward to every post you make. So I'm gonna start by saying that first and foremost.
Thank you.
Myself, I'm doing all right. I've been keeping busy. Right now I'm on a little, I want to say a tour throughout some schools and theaters across the country, some festivals as well. So that's been keeping me busy. Right now I'm joining you from Nova Scotia, actually on the other side of the country.
On the opposite coast.
Yeah.
I've never been to Nova Scotia ever.
First time here as well. First time here. It's
How is
different.
It out there?
It's very small. There's not a lot of Black people.
I mean, not so different from Vancouver, I guess.
True. That's for sure. It's a very small town. It feels very like a small town vibe. I'm becoming like, I didn't know I was a city girl. Like, I like the city. I like bigger towns. I was like, there's not a lot to do here. But the kids have been very sweet. The schools have been very welcoming. So we're appreciative of that. And like I saw a post recently from parent that said that I was their kid's first concert. So
Oh,
I'm their first concert in their life
oh
when they're
my
in grade
gosh.
8 or 9 or whatever
Oh
grade
my
they're
God.
in.
Yeah, I guess you never think about that. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's a big deal. That's like a milestone in a kid's life, like their first concert, like the first album, or I remember, I don't even know what my first concert was. Do you?
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. Like I don't really remember as well. I think uh I want to say the one that comes to mind is you know Magic System, like "C'est dans la galette,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like it." Like, I remember going to their show. So I feel like they might have been my first concert or the ones that I knew of, and then we went and saw them.
That's a good one though. That's a good one. They got bangers.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Especially the
yeah. I was
African
out
parties
there.
be going out with them
Oh,
like
you already know.
weddings, celebrations. So I'm trying to think. I can't even remember. Okay, trying to think the first one from Canada that I went
Mm.
to. It might have been Usher.
Ooh. Okay.
But I mean,
That's
I was in
nice.
university. I was like in
Yeah.
university, like, but yeah, it's a long time ago. I don't want to give away
That's a
my
good one
age,
though.
but yeah, it was a long time ago. But I think it might have been. Well,
Ooh.
well, thank you for sharing your experience in Nova Scotia. So I guess we can get right into it. So let's talk about Missy D and I guess the beginning, the origin story of Missy D, I guess. How your love for music first began and like just your journey from a young age, I guess, into music, rapping, soul music, rap music. Just a little bit about
Mm.
that.
Ooh, it's a long story, so I'm gonna try to condense it. You can
Yeah.
cut me off whenever. I want to say it started for sure with just coming from a family that loved music. They're not musically gifted.
Mm-hmm.
None of my family members sing
Damn.
or dance or play. Like, I think, like, let's say it like that. They don't know. They haven't discovered it yet. Let's say it
Yeah.
like that. But they definitely love music. Like, it's always been a thing in the car, CDs in the house. There's always been a radio in my house in some way,
Mm-hmm.
from a young age. So I loved listening to music from around the world, which made it eclectic. And I think that's where I got my love from. Like, my big brother made me listen to like 90s hip hop,
Mm.
Tupac Shakur, that kind of vibe is where I get that energy from. And then when my siblings would come visit, they would drop off some CDs and be like, "Hey, you should listen to India RE and you should
Mm-hmm.
listen to, some French rappers." And my dad would sometimes travel and randomly see a rapper on TV that nobody knows and then
Mm.
go buy that CD and bring that back as my gift of like, "Hey, I think this artist is popular." And
I think.
sometimes sometimes he would be right there. I'll be like, "Yeah, that's Missy Elliott, let's go." And then sometimes I'd be like, "I don't know who this Moroccan rapper is, but let's go.
Yeah.
Let's check him out." So that love came from there, and then my own rapping came from school actually. So
Mm-hmm.
we did an assignment about hip hop, and then I took that assignment seriously. It's like I'm doing that homework still 20 years later, but
Mm.
it was supposed to be just, a one-time off poetry lesson, learn about hip hop, do it at the end of the year, and then fast forward to 20 years later, I'm like, "Oh, I'm still doing it."
Okay. So, okay, I'm gonna double back because your
Yeah.
story is quite interesting because of where you've lived. So you have a
Mm.
global perspective. So for me, I know like as an African,
Hmm.
that rap music is popular in some parts, but it's not the dominant music, I guess. Well, from my country anyway, it's not the dominant music. So you're saying you were introduced through family and their love for it, right? It wasn't was it something that was prevailing in all the countries that you were living, or you just kind of picked up from those family influences as well as the experience of those different countries that you've lived in, I guess.
It's a mixture. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a mixture of those two things. I think the family for sure bringing in their own influences because I'm like the youngest of the family. So
Hmm.
I get the hand-me-downs
Yeah,
of my
yeah, yeah.
siblings. I get the hand-me-downs of my parents, the cousins that are not your cousin's cousins, but they're like the cousins that you see
Yeah.
at the parties. Or when you go to those parties, I remember going to like Eid parties with my
Mm.
Muslim friends, going to like Christian parties, and then we exchange gospel music, we exchange music from their region. So everybody around me kind of like had a piece in, I want to say, influencing my ear, because that's why I love, like you said, yeah, hip hop wasn't always the top sounds, but I remember listening to like Oliver Mutukudzi and being like, hey, I like
Yes,
that type of
legend.
music, right? Legend. That's the music that my dad used to play in the car. And then suddenly, you go into the living room, my brother's listening to like Tupac Shakur.
Yeah.
So that's a very very
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah. That is a
piece of
unique,
element.
yeah, that is a unique, I guess, musical journey, especially if
Yeah.
you lived in Africa. It's like there's so many different influences that the taste is very, like the range is large. The range is large because
Yeah.
there's so many different influences around, which
Yeah.
is good. Because, you can hear some of those influences in your own music. It's a global sound, I think, and also a Canadian sound, but very global.
Yeah, exactly. And all those influences like make it's a fusion. Like it
Hmm.
makes what I make today. Like I even now I listen to the music I make or the lifts and I gravitate towards and you're like, oh yeah, like is that an influence from Zimbabwe? Is that an influence from Ivory Coast? Is that an influence
Hmm.
from like Whitney Houston? I didn't really listen to Whitney Houston, but you're like, hey, I want to make music like that, or I wish I could sing like that, you know?
Hmm.
So all those people kind of played a role into it. And then, of course, there's the popular hip hop, American hip hop that kind of, at that time in the early 2000s, everybody, even if you didn't speak like English, my
Hmm.
friends were listening to 50 Cent, G
Yeah.
Unit.
Me too.
Like we were all there trying to rap like them. So there's
Yeah.
that piece as well that I think it makes me nostalgic when I hear those songs. I'm like,
Yeah. Especially the early or mid 2000s. It was like another renaissance, I think, in hip hop. Like the hits, the new artists, like so many good rappers came out of that
mhm.
time. Because I think people focus on the 90s, but I think also the 2000s, mid 2010s, there's a lot of good MCs that came up during that time as well, you know.
Yeah, big
So,
time. Yeah.
so for me, I like to kind of like link everything back or all the artists to their Vancouver story. So,
Mm.
what brought you to Vancouver and how did you get to Vancouver? You know what I mean? And what has it been like being in the music scene here?
Mm.
I guess that's a lot of
Wow.
questions. We can start with what brought you to Vancouver and how did you get to this amazing city?
No, I love it. It's a very reflective interview. What brought me to Vancouver was school, actually, was to
Mm.
study. At the time I wanted to be a pediatrician. I wanted to do
Oh.
sciences. So I got accepted at UBC for a bachelor in
Mm.
science, and that was the dream, that was the goal, that was the main reason I was coming to Vancouver. And how I got here was a long flight, two, three long flights from
Yes.
Zimbabwe to Vancouver, um, with by myself. It was like
Mm.
one of my first flights by myself, with just two suitcases of everything I owned in
Oh
my
my
life.
gosh.
And, showed up to my first year residence and being like, hey, I have no family in Vancouver. I don't
Hmm.
really know why I'm here, but well, I don't know why I chose Vancouver precisely, but I
Yeah.
know that it was meant to be that way. And then I was gonna be a good student. That was the goal.
Yes. I feel like you copied my homework there. I'm like, whoa, this sounds like me.
Yeah.
I guess for people listening, I also am Zimbabwean. I grew up in Zimbabwe. I grew up there. I was born and raised. Missy D was raised there. I don't know if you were
Yeah,
born in
I was raised there.
Rwanda, but
Yeah.
so we have that commonality. We've always like talked about it, but we haven't really got deep into it. So it's kind of like crazy that we were in the same country at a certain point, and we never knew each other. And then we just
Yeah.
like met in Vancouver of all places. It's crazy I guess the butterfly effect, the degrees of separation, the
Mm-hmm.
amount of things that had to happen for us to meet right
That
now.
yeah. It
Yeah.
blows my mind. I remember meeting, I was like, what? You were there at the same time. You sure we
Yeah,
didn't we didn't go, we didn't bump, we didn't play basketball or
no.
something? I don't know.
I know. You play
But
basketball? I
yeah.
play basketball too.
Listen, maybe we were on the
Maybe
same
we
court and we
did. You
didn't know.
never know. Like maybe we were in some school event together at one point.
Hmm.
But yeah, and like the what you've described is like a common experience, especially for people who come to school, people at UBC, SFU, like coming here alone and trying to figure things out, and like you're saying, the pursuit of, a better life, better education, and also discovering things that maybe we might have not considered if we had stayed back home, like being a
Yeah.
rapper or, how acceptable it is maybe for a Black woman to pursue those type of things.
Oh, big
So,
time. Yeah.
yeah, it's great to know that history. So, what have been some of the joys and I guess of discovering your music journey here in Vancouver and connecting with the rap industry, the hip hop soul industry in Vancouver and working and performing in the
Mm,
city.
yeah. I think you summarized it well, where like I think there's a piece of curiosity and discovery when you first come to Vancouver and you're like, hey, like my mindset wasn't going into rap, it was going into science. I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
that was a career. I didn't think that
Yeah.
was a thing I could do. That was a hobby. That was my fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
I rap. Like that was the fun fact hobby of mine, but it was never something I took it seriously, but it wasn't like a a pursuit at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Vancouver added this piece of curiosity and like possibility of
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what if you worked hard at it a bit more? What if you performed a bit more at this open mic and told
Mm-hmm.
a few more people and that word of mouth got out to more people? And then suddenly, everybody knows you on campus as this performer.
Mm-hmm.
Most people thought I was in a bachelor of music, like like
Yeah.
stuff like that turned around in my life, and I was like, well, I could do both. Also, the
Mm-hmm.
possibility that I could do both, because people always wanted me to make a choice, either or,
Yeah.
and for a long time I did both. I really stuck to it, and I don't know where I got that energy to to do that 9 to 5, 5 to 9
Oh
type of
my
life.
God.
Now, I don't know if I could do it right now, even in this present moment, but back then, if you talk to my friends that know me, they knew that I really what I was in this hustle mentality
Mm-hmm.
grind of it all, just going to class, doing what I can, passing my class, going to this open mic, and then
Yeah.
suddenly I was like, hey, let me go downtown, forget the UBC bubble. Let's go freestyle
Yeah.
with a bunch of random guys,
Yeah.
become like, and it was like funny to be in a freestyle. Like I went to this freestyle session. It was like all these white guys, and I was the only girl, and I was also the only black girl.
Black
I was like,
person.
wait. I was like, this is a lot. And then, but I did my thing, and it was like the stereotypes of it all, of like, oh, people underestimating what you can do, and then suddenly
Really?
they hear your voice on the mic, and they're like, oh shoot, she knows what she's
They
doing. Oh.
underestimated you? I'm surprised, actually.
Ye- Yeah, I think it's back then, maybe it's changed now, but
Yeah.
back then there wasn't that many like I want to say female rappers
Yeah, that
as
is
well.
true.
So I still was like a minority. It was kind of like high school. It was like a minority within this hip hop male dominated
Mm-hmm.
industry. And so when you show up to these events, it's the typical like, everybody wants to freestyle, throw in like a that
Oh,
type
yeah.
of
Oh,
type of word. You can censor that if you need to.
yeah.
And suddenly you're like, when you're in the room, they're like, can I do it? Can I not do it? Plus, I'm black in the room. I'm the only black person in the room. So they're navigating all these different things. So I don't know what they were feeling, but they were feeling something.
Mm,
And then I felt I want to say their respect
grow.
after I did something on the mic. After I
Yeah.
said something and I showed what I could do, they're like, oh, shoot. Suddenly they want to add me on Instagram. They're like, yo, we should work, collaborate,
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
guess it's different. Yeah, you are right, to be honest. I feel like the rise of female rap, which I even hate saying female rap because it's all
yeah,
hip hop, but the rise of
yeah,
the female MC or the resurgence of it happened within the last, I'd say since, I guess, I mean, in the Northern Hemisphere, I guess like with what it was like no, Nicki Minaj,
yeah,
those, and then it was Cardi B, and then after Cardi, there's like a bunch of people came. And
yeah,
obviously there was still like the Missy Elliott's holding it down in the early 2000s and stuff like that. But I
yeah,
think in terms of female MCs, there was a resurgence And I think
Yeah.
that also kind of there was a not that there's never been people who rap, but I think it might have opened up people's minds, I guess, in terms of if there's a rapper and you're a girl or woman and you want to do that, you're like, hey, I can do this. I can hang with the guys,
Mm-hmm.
like
Uh,
I'm just as good or even better. Because what
mm-hmm.
happens is when you're a minority in something, you have to work 10 times harder than everybody for the same level of respect. So
Yeah.
I respect that you were brave enough to do that because it's not easy to walk into a room of guys and you're just like, yeah, I'm coming, I'm
Yeah.
coming, and I'm
It,
gonna, drop that
yeah.
16 or,
Exactly.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah. And back then
So,
I was much serious. I think now people that maybe have seen me perform, I sing a bit more and
hmm
rap a bit more than and mix the two together. But back then I was like, rapper,
straight
like
bars.
yeah, I just want to rap. Don't make me sing. I can't. I don't want to be exactly. I don't want to be the hook. Like
Yeah, that
people,
is true.
people loved to kind of be like, "Hey, can you do the hook on my song?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
do
drop
this. I'm gonna
that.
do the rap part. I'm gonna do something 16." So I was very hard about that personality, but I
Mm,
think it's because I really wanted to prove something to those guys, which now I look back, be like, yeah, I had nothing to prove. I was just had to be myself and
yeah,
be in that room and show what I got. But it's part of the hip hop world
yeah,
of competition and bravado that people
yeah.
want to have. Certainly when you're in a cipher, when you're in those rooms, it's very much that mentality. But it changed. What I appreciate about Vancouver, what I'll say, there was a community minded aspect to this scene
Mm,
that I saw
yeah.
where people then it wasn't about competition, it was about jamming. They were like, "Who
Mm,
we don't have enough of this, so like even the
yeah.
little that we have, let's cultivate it, let's celebrate it, let's uplift it." And those are the friends that I made. Those are the friends that
Mm,
like I surrounded myself with were like people that were community minded that were like, "Hey, you know what? Forget the competition. Actually, there shouldn't be just one girl on your bill
yeah,
and
there
I
should
should
be
be the
multiple.
girl. there should be multiple. Like, let's get together, let's create our own show, have a
Mm,
roster of like female rappers, non-binary rappers, whoever it is that
mm,
wants to get on the mic. And then the more I surrounded myself with that, the more I'm like, oh, there's more than just me.
yeah,
There's another person and there's
yeah,
another person. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's what I like about Vancouver is I think there's a critique that there's not a lot of opportunities. And there's some truth to that. But what I do like is that when there is an opportunity or there are a group of people, it's very well, I can't speak for your experience, but what I've observed is that people are willing to be open and work with each other and be more, like you're saying, community focused, like kind of bring in people in the fold. It's like, okay, you might not have a bunch of experience, but if you're good, come, let's work together. It's like,
Yeah.
y- you know, like you said, you still have to prove yourself, but I feel like here there's a hunger to find other people, so they're more willing to bring you into the fold, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of like anything like creative related. So for you, it's hip hop. For me, it's media and I guess blogging and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
entertainment. And it's like maybe in a different city, I might not get that reception. I might have more barriers to entry, maybe out east or like Toronto, But here it's like because there's a lack of it and a desire for that community, people are more willing to embrace. Even someone who's a novice, like myself when I started, like people are more willing to embrace, just like you, right? You found
Yeah.
your community. So that's what I love about Vancouver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. There's a need. There's a need for all these things, you know. When
hmm
something is missing, when something is not in the room, people notice it. And once it's in the room, I feel like, well, one thing I love about Vancouver is that people will be like, "Oh, we need more of that." Oh, like how do we
hmm
help you? And it's not everybody for sure, but I think when you find the people, the community, the resources, you can make something that, yeah, I don't know if you could make as fast in another place.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned in the intro, you just released a new project, Lapu. Am I saying it right? Tell me if I'm saying it right. I tried my
La-
best to remember my French lessons, but you can go ahead and let the people know like the album title
I
and
mean, you got it. It's like la poursuite, the pursuit, right? La poursuite.
oh, Poursuite. Okay.
It's like poursuite. Yeah, it's like you're saying sweet.
Poursuite.
Poursuite.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, that's how it's spelled. I was close, guys. You know,
Yeah.
French is not my first language, but I tried.
You did.
La
You did
Poursuite.
that.
Yes, so congratulations on releasing that. I think that dropped in March or
Yes, it did.
yeah,
Wow.
so it's
Yeah.
been almost a month-ish, just over a
Yeah.
month. And you know, I'm sure it's been a whirlwind with the Juno Fest, with the tour, with the performance. So to me, is um what inspired this project? Because from when I was listening to it, I noticed also it's mostly French. What inspired La Pursuit? And you can speak as well on being a Black Francophone MC as well. So,
Yeah. Uh, and a lot of things inspired this project. I think the first thing that comes to mind was I wrote this project a year and a half ago. It
mm-hmm,
feels like a long time ago now because I was contemplating sort of pursuing this music career,
mm-hmm.
and I
What do you
had big
mean?
questions.
You were
Because
contemplating?
I
You
was
are?
contemplating. I know, right?
Wait,
It
I'm
sounds.
confused.
You're
Okay,
like,
go
you're an
ahead.
artist. No, but it is exactly that. Can I be a full-time artist?
Okay.
Can I even say that? Can I even, you go to a networking event and you're like, hey, what do you do for work? If you had asked
Mm,
me a year and a half ago what I did, I would have
yeah.
been like, I work at UBC.
Okay.
Um, it would have never been you would have known D, like Diane, not Missy right away. I
Oh
would
my
never
God.
say that right away, except if you know me as Missy, you would
Yeah.
hear that part of my life and it would be evident to you. But I think that was the big question I had starting this album was like, hey, do I pursue this thing? Do I actually go for it? I have this momentum that's building up. I think I can continue this. I think I could give it a chance. And this is the perfect time to do so because I don't have other responsibilities apart from myself and my close loved ones. So it's like, okay, do I take that leap of faith or do I take a step back? Do I do it in English? Do I do it in French? So the
Mm-hmm.
whole album is me, if I was to translate to an English speaker, it's me asking myself those questions. Do I actually go for it? Do I give it a chance? Should I take a step back? Do we care if we can dream? How do I make sure that my friends can pursue their dreams, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
means, whether it's full time, part time,
Mm-hmm.
on the weekends? How do I make sure that people have a chance to live a life beyond, you know, their their 9 to 5 or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
means?
I get that. Yeah, like I guess the title Pursuit, the pursuit in English. Yeah, what you're talking about is obviously I don't understand all the lyrics, but the way you're breaking it down is I guess almost like a crossroads. It's like, do you live the life that you expected, or do you dream bigger and
Mm,
pursue your dreams? And I think that's a universal theme for anybody, whatever you're doing in any capacities. Do I accept what I have, what's in front of me, what's expected, or do I take a leap of faith and it might not be the easiest?
yeah.
It might take a lot longer and it might not be the conventional cookie cutter way of um, being successful, quote unquote. But, you know, what I've realized is taking that next step and taking a chance. I think that you've already won at that. The fact that you've taken that step and you've been like, yes, I'm going to go from Diane and I'm going to be Missy D, and this is what I want to do. And it might not be the expectation or the thing that you had planned on when you were younger, but this is where you are, and you've landed in a place where you're pursuing something that you love. And that's always the goal for anybody. So I have
That's what I
mad
wish for
respect for
everybody.
that.
Yeah,
Mad
thank you.
respect.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
wish that for everybody. And like I think, the more I talk to the children I perform in front of, the way I talk to my friends, to you, to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I want to create that possibility for people in order to make it accessible to make it look like, hey, we're not all gonna be Beyonce at the Rogers Arena, BC
That's true.
Place state. But that doesn't mean you failed. I think the idea that that's the only version of success is
Mm,
also like just, one definition. But the more I get to do this, the more I'm like, okay, I took this pursuit. I'm also now defining what success means.
mm-hmm,
Is it all the accolades? Is it big stages? Is it
mm-hmm,
performing in front of, like, if I told you the number of people I perform over, you'd be like, whoa, that's a lot of people. Is it
mm-hmm,
that number? Is it the streaming numbers? What is it
mm-hmm,
that makes you feel like you're doing it? And I'm like, okay, I think taking that first step and doing it is already a win. It's
mm-hmm,
already a privilege. And then if I can do it, if I can show it to people, and then that inspires someone else to be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. If
yeah,
that's I get that's what I get. If I get a couple of those, I feel like I'm doing something right.
yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I enjoyed the album as well, the project. I've already seen you perform a couple of the songs, so it was nice to hear on track because I've already seen you perform, and I'm like, oh, okay. I know. I'm like, oh, I know this one. Okay, I know this one. So yeah, I mean, Missy's an amazing performer, uh, and I could hear that in the music in terms of the different vibes, like from like the rap to the rap soul to, the French influence, and then some of the songs that are in English, and just, your message, the message that we're discussing right now, it's in the music. So if you haven't listened to it, it's on Spotify, or any streaming platform. So you definitely should check it out. Even if you don't speak French, I encourage you to listen to it because it's just good music, and good music transcends language boundaries, anything. So I would definitely want the listeners to check you out if they haven't. And of course, I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of them have seen you perform as well. If they are from Vancouver, they have definitely seen you perform. So in terms of the EP, what is your favorite track
Wow.
on that? And you can speak to the messaging as well
Yeah.
on that.
That,
Or maybe you
no.
might not have a favorite. I don't know. You love
I
them
don't
all
like a project.
equally. All your
No, thank you.
babies.
They are really. Thank you for the kind words as well, and like sharing my music with your audience. Yeah, I know it's a very French heavy project, which was also that leap of faith. It was like, oh, I live in Vancouver where most people speak English.
Yeah.
So how do you present this body of work that's in French? But I want people to capture the vibe and like the essence of it. Um, if I had to, I, I'm gonna give you two answers because there's so many different
Yeah, yeah.
styles
Okay, your
of
top
music in
two
the
maybe.
project. Top two, yeah, I'm cheating a little bit. There's only
Yeah.
6 tracks on the top two. Um, J'avance, which means
Yeah.
like move forward,
Yes.
is a very
Love that
hip
one.
hop track. You might have seen me perform it
Yeah.
live as well. Uh, that one gives me like hype. It's
Yeah.
the, it's like when you're doubting yourself and like
Yeah.
you need that pump up music to be like, yo, no, you got this. Let's go. Let's like
Okay.
don't listen to your subconscious words that come to mind. Just like go for it.
Okay, so for people who don't speak French, je pense, and the message, maybe it'll help, when you're listening, so you can keep that in mind if you're not a French
Yeah.
speaker. So speak to maybe the lyrics and the
Yeah.
messaging. Yeah.
So j'avance means move forward. So the
Mm-hmm.
chorus is about like it's basically my subconscious talking to myself, being like, yo, is it gonna work? Well,
Mm-hmm.
should I do it in French? Should I do it in English? And
Mm-hmm.
then, the positive subconscious is like, no, you should go for it. Like this is the
Mm-hmm.
time. You need to believe in yourself. You need to go for it. Well, whether it works or not, just you've got to take that first step. I know
Mm-hmm.
the first step is the hardest, but you got to take that first step. And if you can take that first step, you might surprise yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of some people would say, I don't know if it's God's voice, whoever it is,
Mm-hmm.
kind of being like sort of encouraging you to go forward when you feel very stuck. Because there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of moments in my life where I'm the kind of person when terrible things are happening, in the world, I sometimes freeze. And I hate
Mm-hmm.
that about myself. That's a
Yeah.
a flaw of mine. I want to say like when I freeze and I can't respond,
Mm,
and I'm trying to tell myself like, hey, when I'm freezing, when I don't know what to do, stop this freeze response. Actually, go. Like you need to move.
mm. I love that. I love that. Wow. I love that. That's a good message. That I mean, I can definitely relate to that. It's like you just kind of have to like ignore the noise, ignore everything, and just keep moving. That's what I realized. It's
Yeah.
like life is about just advancing, like Siobhan. It's about
Yeah,
advancing,
there we
and no
go.
matter what's going on in life. Because I think sometimes we think everything has to be perfect for us to pursue
Hmm.
things, and it's like no, in those imperfections and those tough times, that's the times you should actually push forward. You
Yeah.
should push harder. You should try and do new things. That's the time that you should do it, because
Yeah.
there's never going to be a perfect moment and there's never going to
Yeah.
be a perfect world or a
Yeah,
perfect
you're
time.
never, yeah, the balance, I'm still seeking balance, but
Mm,
balance sometimes is hard to find. And like I think there's a line in the song, if I was to translate it in English, it's like, my head is saying one thing, my heart is wanting another
mm,
thing. But what I'm realizing, we're part of the same team.
mm,
Like it seems like we're battling each other, but we're actually
mm.
part of the same team. So
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like those two things are like, I don't know, is it a smart idea? And then my heart's like,
Yeah.
no, let's go for it. And I think when I tell myself we're part of the same team, we're able to accomplish something together compared to like fighting between my head and heart all the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah. Well, I do love that song, especially when you perform it and you're like, "Je sais, and you're like, and you're like trying to teach us how to speak French. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey man, I'm
It's,
trying. I don't know.
it's French lessons with
Yes.
Missy D
So
always.
it has a deeper message, but it's also very, very entertaining to listen to. So I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
And then, okay, number two, I guess.
Oh, number two.
Okay, well, not number
Number
two,
two.
but the top two.
It's top two. I think uh Une Chance is the last track of the
Hmm.
EP. I think it's another favorite because it's challenging me to sing, which I usually don't do
Mm.
in a full track. I don't like you will find me sing a chorus, maybe a bridge, something of that sort. But that's the one song where the beat is not, I guess it's unconventional, kind of going back to the story of like doing things that are unconventional, like where I'm like a guitar and just a voice. And
Hmm.
it's very ballady. When I listen to it, I'm like, wait, I wrote this? Like sometimes,
Yeah.
when I haven't heard it in a while, I listen to it and I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound like me. Um, but it's a piece of my identity that like I love ballads, I love
Mm.
soul music, and I joke around with a lot of my friends who know me like when I'm 50, get ready for the jazz album. It's coming.
Amen. It's
So
possible.
it's possible. I
I mean,
don't
you
know. I
have the
need
voice for it, so I mean,
eh,
why
we're
not?
working on it. We're working
Yeah.
on it, and it's something that I'm like I like to, blur the lines of genres where I'm like, hey, maybe one of these days I will present a project that you'll be like, yo, Missy,
Hmm.
you're not rapping. Like, yeah, I guess not. But it's music.
It's music, yeah. And the messaging, une chance, and
Une chance.
yeah.
So une chance means another chance. So
Hmm.
there's different layers to it where in each verse you might it stems from actually if you've listened to other projects of mine, I always have a song dedicated to grief
Mm.
and like processing grief. Like I lost my dad a couple years ago,
Oh,
and
I'm
like in each
sorry.
project I was trying to unpack what that grief meant. And
Hmm.
then, the first time it was like sort of the denial stage of grief, like not knowing how
Hmm.
to say goodbye. When I said goodbye to my dad, he would always come back. And this time I was like, oh,
Hmm.
he's not gonna be back. And then, the last project I said au-delà, which means beyond. And I was like, hey, maybe someone's watching over me
Hmm.
from beyond. And Une Chance is a bit nostalgic. It's a bit part of the grief is weird where suddenly you're doing fine and then one day
Hmm.
something reminds you of that thing.
Hmm.
So une chance is like, oh, you wanting another chance to relive that
Hmm.
moment if you were to open um a photo album and you see a
Yeah.
picture and you want to like
Go
transport yourself
back,
into that
yeah.
memory. So there's that verse in there, but there's also une chance could be, that one person that you loved a lot and that got away, and then you're like, oh, I wish we had another chance, and it felt so good
Yeah.
when we were together. There's that point, there's that part, or just moments that are joyful. Like there's a lot of memories I get as I get older. I'm like, I feel like I'm forgetting the good and bad memories of life, but sometimes the good memories that I'm like, oh, I wish I could hold on to them. And so une chance is like, I wish I had another chance to like hold on to it. And then the only time I get to really live those memories is when I fall asleep. So the chorus talks about when I fall asleep
Mm,
is when I'm able to dream, and you're like, it's like you're falling into
yeah.
the what's that movie? It's Inside and Out,
Yeah.
the little the central place where they have all the memories. Like you're falling
Yeah.
into that
Into the
room where,
memories. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful message. Well, thank you for sharing that. I really, really
Yeah.
appreciate that's super, I think it's super deep. And, I think a lot of people could relate to that messaging of losing a loved one and having the memories and, wanting those memories back, as well as, if you love somebody and lost somebody, you can also relate, whether it's romantically or, family. So that's very deep. I appreciate you sharing that. I can listen to it differently now that I understand. So, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ruby.
So I think now we're gonna move to Juno Fest. Obviously, we had the Junos in Vancouver for well, not the
Yeah.
first time, but it came back again in Vancouver, and it was an amazing, amazing week of events. It's a run up to a lot of events, and what I appreciated about it is that it brought a lot of excitement to the local industry, and it also, local artists got a lot of opportunities on a big platform, which is amazing for the city because I'm always saying Vancouver has amazing creatives, artists, and
Hmm.
they just need the platform. They just
Hmm.
need the microphone, but we have everything that every other city has. We just need that spotlight. So I think that
Yeah.
did bring the spotlight to Vancouver, and you were part of that. You were part of Juno Fest, which was a 2-day festival, and that showcased Canadian artists, so from different genres, and Missy performed, and I had the pleasure of watching her perform. It was an amazing performance, super professional, super fun, super just everything. Like, everything that you do already, but on a bigger platform. Like, it's not, for me, it's not a surprise. 'Cause I'm like, she always kills it no matter what, like,
Oh,
whether it's small
appreciation.
stage, but I appreciate that you had that big platform to showcase your talent. So,
Mhm.
to maybe speak
Yeah.
to that and how that was finding out that you were going to perform and
Yeah.
the lead up to it and
Yeah.
practicing and then actually performing. So,
No, you said it beautifully. I think it's very exciting when there's infrastructure, momentum, energy in the city, which
mhm,
I think that's what sort of the Juno Fest brought to Vancouver at like in March. The process of it, you had to apply. So, for future artists, creatives listening,
mhm,
like, make sure to, subscribe to whether it's Music VC, sort of a newsletter to get that application in on time. But you never know if you're gonna get it. There's a lot of
mhm,
creatives, as you said. Um, and I'm lucky, and I appreciate the people that said yes to
mhm,
having me be a part of it as one of the local artists, because I know they want to showcase local artists, judo nominees, um, different artists visiting. They try to sort of include those different voices to the platform. There were so many events. That's the one thing I noticed. I wanted to
yes.
go. I even wanted to see my friends, and I couldn't see them
Yeah,
because
because they're
I was
performing at the
performing
same
30
time.
minutes. Yeah. So it was also a testament to how much talent there is in the city, where
Hmm.
you're like, hey, there's 5 different events happening at the same time. How do you get to all those events at
Hmm.
the same time? So it made me excited, being like, we need more. We need more Juno
Hmm.
Fest. We need more platforms that are gonna be able to showcase the the Vancouver scene, but like you said, on a I guess on a larger scale or on a
Hmm.
bigger scale, whatever it is, because that's the one thing that we're missing maybe in the city is like infrastructure. Like
Hmm.
a lot of those pieces, key pieces that build quality music, build quality performances, make you
Hmm.
want to step your game up, make you
Yeah.
want to practice with your band a couple of times. That's hard to find always in Vancouver, or
Hmm.
that's when people, move. If you talk to a lot of creatives, they're like, oh, maybe I should move to another
Yeah.
city. So that's something that I took in before getting ready for the show was just wanting to practice, wanting to give something different to the folks that come out to see me.
Mm.
I had Nebu on the trombone, I had Faven on the bass, Dave on the guitar, um, Todd on the drums. So it was like showcasing also my different friends. It's not just me. I
Mm.
know it's my name on the bill, but there's also a lot of talented musicians that I get to call friends that I'm like, yo, I want people to see them. Like they're rad. I wish I could play the trombone and I don't.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And you did a fantastic job. So
Yeah,
I
thank you.
think hopefully we'll see more on the stage, and maybe one to year you will be on the main stage at, at the
Let's go.
Juno
Exactly.
Awards. I mean, put it out there. It's possible.
Hey,
It's
this is
possible. I mean, you have
all.
the talent, you have everything it
Thank you.
takes. So it's just a
Oh,
matter of getting that platform. So I
all
think
is possible. Hey, I
anything is
appreciate that. Let's
possible.
manifest. Let's manifest
Let's
it. Let's bet.
manifest, yes. And to any of the Vancouver artists, like just take Missy's advice that, if you're looking to part of the any festivals, or just keep in touch with, like, I guess Music BC, even like I guess Advance and those type of
Yes,
organizations,
advance,
you
creative
know,
BC.
those are really helpful in, I guess, propelling people into, spaces that you may not have access to, but they do, and they can connect you to these opportunities. I could probably link some things if people are interested in the episode description. Just if you're starting out and you're trying to figure this out. I think that's another thing is in Vancouver, it's like a lot of people, if you have the information, you have the information, but if you don't, it's almost like impossible. You think it's impossible because you don't have
Mm-hmm.
the information. And that's part of my purpose, I guess, my pursuit is to bring to
Yeah.
light this, information that it's readily available, but maybe to make it more accessible or curated towards our community, the Black community especially,
Mm-hmm.
that some of the stuff it's not gatekept, but it's not brought to light or it's not highlighted, for them to find easily. So that's part of the goal, I guess, as well.
Then
And
you do it
having,
well.
yeah, I try. I'm also
Yeah.
learning as I go. So, there's a lot of things I'm like, oh, I had no idea. So in times it's like, if I don't post something, it's not because I may not know about it. I mean, I don't want to. It's like me, I'm learning as well. I'm a student of the
Yeah.
game as well. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not some expert or whatever. I'm learning, and I think that's for me is the opportunity to learn and grow in an area where I have no experience or background, So I'm humble
Yeah.
enough to say, hey, I didn't know and now I know. And moving forward, we can, you know, highlight that as well.
Yeah.
So that's me.
No, but that's all you need. I feel like
Yeah.
that when you have that drive and that curiosity and the fact that you're even self-aware about like, oh, there's things I might not know. I feel like all of us are like that. I
Mm,
always joke around like there's no book of like the artist or like I
mm-hmm.
maybe there is, but I haven't read it. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's more questions, conversations with friends, with other people from different parts of the so-called industry that you're like, oh, okay, oh, I should apply for this. Wait, there's a grant
Mm-hmm.
for this? Oh,
Yeah.
wait, I didn't know that. Okay, this is how I could get a music video done. And
Mm-hmm.
then the more you have those conversations, the more you talk to people, the more it sounds possible. Whether it's hard to do. Maybe it
Mm-hmm.
will take some work, but there's now a possibility or like a little window that's open that you're like, okay, now I just have to crack it open of it again. Or if you can't crack it, then you
Mm-hmm.
make your own window, which I've also learned to do that sometimes where like, hey, apparently we're gonna have to create our own show. And
Mm-hmm.
you do your own show. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of
like,
have to like create your own platform, I think. Yeah. That's part of it.
mhm.
I think also, I guess since we're talking about festivals, obviously I know you've heard the news. I don't about the
Yeah.
festival that happened this week, the Lapu Lapu Festival. And I think
Yeah.
when I was watching the news unfold, I guess Sunday, Monday, And I just started to think of all the amazing artists, you know. I mean, it's the Filipino community, but all the
Yeah.
communities are connected. So just waking
Mm-hmm.
up to that news and thinking, you know, I know people who put so much work into organizing events and they're doing it
Mm-hmm.
for the good of the community and the artists who come out to
Yeah.
perform and, you know, the happiness and joy that people get from these events, you know, that music brings, that culture brings, that community brings. And to have something tragic happen, it, you know, it ripples throughout the entire industry, you know,
Yeah.
and throughout the entire city. And my heart goes out to the families, to the
Mm-hmm.
victims, and also to the creative community, you know, who are, you know, touched by this. And, you know, I don't know, I hope it doesn't, I guess, discourage people as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You read my mind. I like first and foremost, yeah, for sure, like sending our love to anybody that's been impacted
Mm-hmm.
from injured folks, from people that have lost folks, from exactly those organizers, those vendors, those creatives
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, saw horrific scenes, experienced a horrific moment,
Mm-hmm.
or even had, you know, a family member. I know a lot of friends who had like family members, nurses, people in the medical
Mm-hmm.
team, like having to support the tragedy. And like there's so many things I could say about that moment because we were on a flight. We were actually gonna come to Nova Scotia. So both
Mm.
me and my friend, my DJ, we were supposed to be there.
Wow.
And we're thinking about like, you know, it brings so much there's so much perspective to it. Like you're
Mm.
like, oh, you know, what could have happened, what could have been,
Mm-hmm.
and then it makes you think about again about, you know, is it discouraging, does it make you question your safety when you go to events? There's a lot
Mm.
more hopefully festivals coming up in the
Yeah.
summer, and so you start questioning. I know I'm not the only one who's like, wait, what does that mean for our own security, for our own
Mm-hmm.
livelihood, for the people around us? How are we taking care of ourselves? How are we taking care of people's mental health?
Mm.
Yeah, there's so many more questions that have always been there, but that I think are unearthed with events like this that you're like, how do we support not just
Yeah.
now, but you know, 2 months from now, 3 months from
Mm-hmm.
now, a year from now, when people are still having to face um
The-
the tragic event that was a week ago. And like
Mm.
it's not even
It's not
I
even a
think it's
week,
not even a week,
honestly.
right?
Yeah.
So that to me is like is something it's
And
something that gets me stuck in my thoughts. I don't have the
mm.
answers. I just have a lot of questions and a lot of like, how do we come as a community? Which I see that, and I see a lot of my friends coming as a community to
Mm.
hold space for grief, for support, for
Yeah.
fundraise. But then the question comes as well of like, what happens after that?
Mm.
Which yeah, I don't
I
know if I have any answers yet.
no. I think we're still all coming to terms with it. And I think it will take some time, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, I think at this moment, I think we're just in a moment of grief
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know the solutions. But what I do know about the city of Vancouver and the creative cities that they are, like you said, we are a community focused city. We are all interconnected, and people are willing to step up to do the necessary work to bring the communities back together, you know, and find some solutions, find comfort, find resources, like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
for people and victims, and also the creative community as well as the Filipino community. Out of the communities, POC communities, you know, that's what we're here for, to step up for each other, to speak out
Mm-hmm.
for each other, to advocate. So we may
Yeah.
not have the answers, but we are there to, you know, propel or support the people who know the answers and who can
Yeah.
provide the help. And I think that's for me as a Black person and seeing another POC community going through it, you know, that's how they've shown up for us, you know, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how the city of Vancouver, they showed up for the Black Lives Matter protests a few years ago during COVID. You know, the people who came and stood with the community. And I think as the Black community, we can also, you know, when we are called, we can stand also and speak and help support for now,
Yeah.
until we
Yeah, no,
figure it out.
yeah, that's very true. And I think that solidarity that is key. In those types of moments, I feel like I'd rather see us come together than divided, and sort of,
Yeah.
that to me will not bring us anywhere. But I think that solidarity, that seeing people step up in different ways, in little ways, like I think that's a big start. And then now I just think about, how do we sustain it? How do we keep going? How do we, make sure that this doesn't happen again? All those are
Yeah.
the things that come to mind for me now. But I know that, we will get through this moment, and grief takes time. Grief has ebbs and flows, and I think that's also a piece where, like, I think community will be key to get through that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. We're going to move into our last segment. So just to bring back to music and yourself, I had like a quick fire round episode. So there'll be 5 questions. Was it 4? 4 or 5 questions. Just quick fire, whatever comes to the top of your head. So my first question is, what's one song that's been on repeat for you lately?
Woo. You know what? Leon Thomas, Mutt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's been an earworm that I randomly sing every day or every other day.
Okay. That's a good choice. And then, okay, dream artist to collaborate with. It could be local,
Dream
international,
artists to
whatever.
collaborate. Today's answer.
Okay,
There's
today's
so many.
answer.
Today's answer is going to be Lauryn Hill. That would be like, I'd be out of this world. That you'd have to pinch me a couple of times to be like, no, this is happening. But yeah, that would be dream for sure.
Okay. And a mantra or quote you live by. I feel like we discussed this whole episode, but it might be different.
Yeah, man, there's so many mantras, but I think these days, I don't know if it's a mantra or a quote, but I'm reminding myself and my friends and my loved ones to be kind to yourself, to give yourself grace. Because I think I hear a lot of harshness and critique and hardness on ourselves, and I'm just like, I think I'm in that era of no longer having to, find validation and prove myself to people and so on. So I'm like, how do I give myself grace, and how do I give other people grace, and how do I encourage that for my friends so that we can, be okay with where we are and where we're heading.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. And lastly, obviously, we have to ask, you're an MC. We have to ask this. This is the question that every MC gets asked. Top 5. Where did you go? You disappeared.
I'm here. I know what's coming.
Ran away from the question. Top 5 rappers by Missy D, dead
Top
or
5
alive.
rappers. Oh my gosh. So top 5 rappers. Ooh.
It doesn't have to be in order. It can just be your top 5.
Yeah. I don't know if there's an order. Okay, top 5. Okay, so we're gonna go with J. Cole. It's one of my favorites, so he's gonna be in the top 5. Black Top from The Roots.
Okay.
Lyrically, just on another level. If people paid attention more, they'd be like, whoa, this is on another level. Missy Elliott.
Of course. The legend.
The legend. And I think there it's hard to do top 5s because it's all about, like, what's your criteria, right? Is it lyricism? Is it artistry? So there's a mixture in my top 5.
Yeah.
Missy Elliott is both lyricism but artistry as well. Like the package deal of this person is somewhere else. Lauryn Hill, similar thing. Package deal. Triple threat. Like, there's so many things about this rapper that you're like, wait, how can you not be in the top 5?
Yeah.
Now, is that 4?
That's 4. You got one more.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. Number 5. Number 5. Number 5. I kept it English, by the way. I kept it English for people listening.
Okay.
There could be some
Yeah.
French rappers
There could
too,
be some
but
French rappers.
I'm number 5. I'm gonna give it to Kendrick,
Mm.
and that's because I think in this current moment, I feel like he's the type of rapper. Not a lot of rappers do this, where you have to go back and listen to the lyrics, not just to the song. There's songs where you go back and listen to the songs because it's a bop, and you're like, hey, this is fun. I have to go back and listen and rewind and be like, wait, what did he say again?
Yeah.
And try to understand every line that he's saying. Which that's a technical rapper. Like that's a technicality that I wish even myself I had, where I'm like, I think I'm more simple with my lyrics, and I'm like, whoa, he's got layers to him. So I'd give him a top 5. But that's today's list. Call me tomorrow.
Yes, I mean that's an excellent list. I mean I can't debate that. That's your list. Hey, so but every person you pick there, great artists, great MCs, lyrical, and obviously I can see the influences as well in your music. So, all right. So lastly, what's next for Missy D? Do you have any shows, any visuals, any other projects in the works?
I feel like you're in my Google Calendar or something.
Oh, I mean, you don't have to drop it if it's still, if it's top secret, don't tell us. But if it's something you can share, definitely do.
Definitely visuals. Working on visuals for a song on the EP that's gonna come up soon. I'm still finishing this tour right now. We're in Nova Scotia. We're going to Ottawa soon, next week. So going to finish my east side of the tour, and then I'm gonna come back to Vancouver to do some other shows, and then last stop will be Saskatoon.
Okay.
So wrapping up that tour, which is like more towards young audiences, but then the summer's coming. I heard it's sunny out there
it's beautiful in Vancouver,
which is my favorite time of the year. So there's some summer festivals that I don't know if I can announce them yet because they haven't put out their posters yet, but that's coming up. And then an exciting show, if all goes well, if all looks good, if the world is in a better place, I will be going I'll be going to New York for the first time.
Oh my gosh, the heart of hip hop.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's happening in June if all goes well. So I'm crossing my fingers and praying for that one.
Well, there's a lot going on for you in the spring, summer, and obviously once they start making announcements, I'll definitely post anything that Missy's having, and if she sends it to me or if I find it, I will definitely post it on the website blackvanclub.com. You can now find event listings on there. Makes it easier to find information and ticket links. So whatever is going on with Missy, I'll definitely try to post on there so you all are on top of it and can go see her perform live. So I just want to thank you again for coming on our show. This was actually an amazing conversation.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people enjoy listening to you because I feel like you're such a layered artist and there's so many things that people may not know, but now they have a little bit of insight into Missy D, the artist.
Yes, thanks to you. Thank you for the space and the place that you hold in our community. And I'm very grateful to people like you and to anybody listening. Because it's also thanks to people championing and shining a light on others that like you feel also things are possible. So I owe it to a lot of people in my community that have held that light up for me, and I hope to shine that light on them as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I'd also like to thank the audience again for tuning in to another episode of Black Van Club on the Mic.
My name is Samara Joy, and this is my first time in Vancouver, but if you're from here, join the Black Van Club.
What's up, Black Fan Club? It's your boy Ryan Davis, and I'm in your city. It's all coming together. It can be a family reunion.
Yo, what's up, Black Fan? What's up, everybody? Yo, all my people, all my Caribbean brothers, my Haitian brothers, my Zimbabwe, Nigeria, everybody. Black man, come see your man. Oh, boom, 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 boom.